Live from WTOC, the Southeast News leader. The News Now starts on WTOC Plus.
Welcome to the news on WTOC Plus. I'm digital anchor Jude Binkley. We start with new details on the overnight shooting in Savannah that sent 2 men to the hospital. Now, this was the scene near 46th and Burroughs last night. Savannah police say around 9 p.m., officers responded after 2 adult men were shot. Police say they were driving, hit a parked car, and were shot at. While fleeing, they hit another car and then were shot. The victims suffered non-life-threatening injuries, and Savannah police are investigating. In Hinesville, the Coastal News Service reported a vehicle plowed into a home on Christmas night. The vehicle struck the home located on the 700 block of Timber Ridge shortly after 11 p.m. As you can see on your screen, the vehicle caused extensive damage to the living room of the house. The Hinesville Police Department is investigating the cause of the accident. No injuries were reported. We do have a health alert for you. A salmonella outbreak tied to raw oysters has sickened more than 60 people in 22 states, including right here in Georgia. Most reported eating raw oysters before getting sick, and around 20 people have been hospitalized. The CDC and the FDA are investigating. However, there's been no recall yet. Health experts say if oysters are on your holiday menu, cook them thoroughly to stay safe. Well, the Georgia Department of Public Safety has released their list of traffic-related incidents leading up to the Christmas holiday. They say 38 people have been cited for driving under the influence, 24 people were caught distracted driving, and 30 were ticketed for not wearing a seatbelt. In total, there were 36 crashes statewide, and agencies say 3 people were killed in those crashes. Staying in travel news, today's expected to be a pretty busy day at airports across the country, including the world's busiest airport over in Atlanta. Niamani Watson with our sister station has more on how things are looking this afternoon.
Day after Christmas, I thought everybody going back home.
It's the day after Christmas at the world's busiest airport. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport officials expect around 350,000 people to pass through today. While some travelers are heading back home this morning, Ja'Cory Nichols and Cameron Bully are flying to Colorado for another reason.
We're going to Denver. Colorado. We're going to ski, going to snowboarding trip. Come right back. We came a little, hour, 2 hours early?
About 2 hours early.
It's because of the line, but it seems like we're going to be at our gate way before then.
It's my wife.
Dalton and Ivy Whitmore, who are from Dallas, Georgia, are heading to Wyoming for a ski and snowboarding trip too. The couple was able to spend quality time with family for the holidays and say they were gifted the trip for Christmas.
We went to my grandparents one day, his grandparents the other, and then his grandparents are the ones that gifted us this trip. So it's a group of 11 of us. They
say they anticipated the airport to be crowded, but say they were relieved when they arrived.
We expected to be waiting for hours in the TSA and be getting the luggage booked in, but
yeah, staff's doing a good job too, so I think it's been pretty smooth.
Turning now to national news as we take a live look at Capitol Hill on your right. There are questions this afternoon after President Trump announced the U.S. launched, quote, powerful and deadly strikes against Islamic State forces in Nigeria yesterday. Plus, there are new signs that negotiations to end the war in Ukraine are intensifying. Olivia Rinaldi is at the White House with more.
Defense Department video shows what it says was a U.S. missile launch on Islamic State forces in Nigeria late Thursday. President Trump said on social media there were, quote, numerous perfect strikes against what he called ISIS terrorist scum who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians. And Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said there's, quote, more to come. Video from northwest Nigeria appears to show locals holding metal debris with a fire burning in the background. President Trump did not offer additional details about the operation, including casualties or what was specifically targeted. Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Dingell told CNN she wants a lot more information.
What are his plans? I believe under the War Powers Act, he needs to be coming to Congress. He needs to be talking to Congress.
The military action in Nigeria comes amid new movement to end Russia's nearly 4-year-old war in Ukraine. On Friday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told reporters he'll likely meet with President Trump in Florida on Sunday. He said there's a broad agenda, including security guarantees for Ukraine, with that 20-point plan under discussion about 90% ready. Zelensky's announcement came after he said he had a good conversation with U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner on Christmas. Olivia Rinaldi, CBS News, the White House.
Well, turning now to sports, it's bowl season in college football, and we're now less than 1 week away from Georgia's second straight Sugar Bowl appearance. UGA was knocked out of the playoffs this time last season in New Orleans, but this year has a bit of a different feel. The Dogs will go head-to-head against familiar foe Ole Miss, a team that they already beat this season. Head coach Kirby Smart is 4-0 in rematches, including this year's SEC championship against Bama. A record not weighing heavily on his mind heading into New Year's Day.
It's really overrated in terms of rematches and things like that. I think it's, how you play defines what the outcome of the game is. There's all kinds of things in that thing that figure it out, and it really has very little to do with the time before you played them.
And Georgia Tech is gearing up for one of the most anticipated bowls of the year, the Pop-Tarts Bowl in Orlando. The number 22 Yellow Jackets will take on 12th-ranked BYU at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. Right now, Vegas does have the Cougars as a 4-point favorite. And while many of you were enjoying time with your family on Christmas, Georgia Southern football was on the road. Although still a football family, the team arrived in Birmingham last night, getting ready for their big bowl game against App State. Now, our very own Zach Fox was there as the team arrived, and they're practicing and checking out some of the sites before the big game on Monday. Head coach Clay Helton says his team is feeling great.
Terrific. We got the opportunity prior to showing up today for about a week of preparation and really put in the entire game plan. And now get to enjoy some bowl festivities, but also get 3 extra practices here to review the game plan. Their last opportunity to be able to do this one more time together. And, hopefully we can put our best foot forward, go 1-0 on the week, and go get a bowl victory.
The J-Lab Birmingham Bowl kicks off Monday at 2 p.m. This marks Georgia Southern's 4th consecutive bowl appearance. Well, 2025 delivered a year full of significant news. A familiar face returned to the White House. Fires and floods forever changed communities across the country. A new pope was chosen finally following an extended out-of-the-world adventure. 2 American astronauts finally made it home. Michael Yoshida has a look back on 2025.
2025 began with back-to-back tragedies. New Year's celebrations turned deadly in New Orleans. A terror attack shutting down the city's famed Bourbon Street. Just days later,
we drove up and I just kept saying, my home, my home.
Deadly and destructive fires tear across Los Angeles, destroying thousands of homes.
We wanted to see for ourselves what the damage was, but it's gone. It's gone. It's a total loss.
Heartbreak in Texas. Young girls attending summer camp among the more than 130 people who lost their lives in catastrophic flooding.
Please pray for our community.
And tragedy in our nation's capital. A passenger jet colliding with a U.S. Army helicopter. The deadliest U.S. plane crash in nearly 2 decades.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Donald Trump returned to the White House. Job and spending cuts, tariffs, and immigration enforcement and raids becoming political and social flashpoints. Court battles, protests, and marches playing out across the country. The president claiming there was widespread crime, ordering National Guard troops to several U.S. cities, leading to clashes with protesters.
We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
A White House shouting match as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, President Trump, and others met about Russia's invasion into Ukraine. Months later, a red carpet welcome for Russian President Vladimir Putin landing on American soil. But the high-stakes summit in Alaska did not end with a deal to end the Russia-Ukraine war. 2 years after Hamas attacked Israel, a ceasefire agreement reached. The last living Israeli hostages held by Hamas released, in exchange for the release of Palestinian prisoners and detainees. In October and November, we saw the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, fights over health care dividing Congress, the 43-day saga ending with a deal to reopen through January. 6 years after his death, convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein back in the spotlight. A twists and turns saga from the White House to Capitol Hill, as survivors pushed for release of the so-called Epstein files.
I know everybody sees us today as grown adults, but we are fighting for the children that were abandoned and left behind in the reckoning.
We're not counting gang violence.
The assassination of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk stunned the country.
It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals.
Comedian Jimmy Kimmel, following criticism and political pressure over comments related to Kirk's death, taken off air. Free speech protests ensued, before Kimmel eventually returned to hosting his late-night show the following week. And our nation said goodbye to political pillars. The 39th President Jimmy Carter honored. And Dick Cheney, Vice President under George W. Bush, also remembered. Tributes poured in across the globe after the death of Pope Francis. White smoke revealing the first Latin American pontiff would be replaced by the first American Pope, Leo XIV, a Chicago White Sox fan turned leader of the Catholic Church. A brazen heist at the world's most visited museum, thieves robbing the Louvre of jewels estimated to be worth more than $100 million. And after what was supposed to be a short mission to space stretched into more than 9 months, NASA astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore finally returned home.
Thank you to a nation that got involved in all of this. It makes it special, not just for us, but for I think our nation as a whole.
Pretty honored and humbled by the fact of when we came home, like, wow, there are a lot of people who are interested.
I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
All right, well, before we sign off here on WTOC Plus, wanted to wish y'all a happy Kwanzaa because the holiday begins today. It was created in 1966 as a non-religious celebration of family and social values. Each day of Kwanzaa is dedicated to one of 7 defining principles: unity, self-determination, collective responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Kwanzaa goes through January 1st, and if you're observing Kwanzaa in the Savannah area, a festive way you can celebrate is the Kwanzaa Crawl. The crawl is a tradition formed under former Alderwoman Kesha Gibson Carter. Each evening, participants go to different eateries to enjoy food, culture, and fellowship under the Kwanzaa traditions. Speakers and cultural presenters will also be at each evening's event. Those begin tonight at 6 p.m. at the Henry Street Bistro. And with that, we are going to wrap things up here for the news on WTOC Plus. Appreciate you spending part of your afternoon with us. We'll be back in just about 15 minutes for the First Alert Weather Show with Dave Turley. And in the meantime, you can always head on over to our website to get the latest updates at WTOC.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll now join Local News Live in progress.